What's up? What's up? Welcome everybody to episode 18 of Bono's Gamers. I am excited about this episode because I'm joined tonight for the first time ever by Jason from The Construct. How's it going, brother?
What's up, man? It's awesome to be here. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I tried to get you on a couple of weeks ago, but it was kind of short notice, and so I'm glad we could work out tonight to have you on the show, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's great. There's always something going on, of course, parenting and all that good stuff. My office is literally kind of torn apart because I have a sponsored video that I'm working on. So it's always something going on, man. Yeah.
Nice. That's nice. Can we ask who the sponsor is, or is it top secret?
Well, no. Well, it's actually a desk company, FlexiSpot. I don't know if you heard of them, but yeah. I'm actually a huge fan. I used them way back during the pandemic when everyone was buying every piece of home office equipment on the planet. They were the people I chose to build my desk. So super awesome that they reached out.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Is that like a standing desk thing, or is it something else? Yeah,
standing desk. Yeah,
nice.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
Very nice. Well, we're not here to talk about desks tonight, but that is cool. that you got that sponsorship. That's cool.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some games, and we're going to talk about what you do on your channel. And I've got something that I saw a couple of days ago, really bothered me, and so I want to talk about that.
Right on.
Basically about how we don't have to be a jerk. People just don't have to be a jerk. So I want to talk about that with you, if you don't mind. And then I want to talk a little bit about Summer Game Fest. I don't know if you paid attention to all the various announcements that have been going on in the last month. It's July now, man. It's July 1st.
I know. We're halfway through the year, man. It's way too quick. Yeah.
It's quicker when you have kids too.
For sure.
Hear me?
Sure. Yeah. Yep. 100%. Yeah, I did catch some of the Game Fest coverage. It's weird, and I think when you had another guest on before, I heard them say that they don't play flat games anymore because they got into VR. I'm kind of in that camp.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm still like madly in love with gaming, but I'm at that phase of VR gaming where it's just been so immersive that it's really hard to like come out of it, So yeah. But I still stay connected to gaming. Like I'm flat gaming, right. I should say.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. I think we'll get into that. So the first thing I like to do, Jason, on the show each week, we do it a couple episodes a month on the first and third Mondays of the month, typically, and I like to start off with just talking about what everybody's been playing. Unfortunately, we usually have more people on, and unfortunately there were a couple of different family emergencies from two of the guys, and so they just couldn't make it tonight, and so our prayers go out to them and what's going on with them tonight. But so it's just you and me. So I don't know if you've been playing any games lately. I definitely have, but I'd like to hear from you first if you
Well, the funny thing about VR, because I've really only been playing VR lately, I did have one flat game binge, and it was a while ago. It was when Resident Evil 4 remake came out. I had to go back to it. It's one of my favorites, just back from GameCube. So I played flat for that. But recently, and this might interest you, Bo.
Yeah.
I've been playing Half-Life 2 in VR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a really decent mod out on Steam, and just living through that low res experience in VR, but just kind of like going through the Half-Life 2 story in VR. It just feels completely different. So I've been messing around with that, and then I also have been trying to play Asgard's Wrath 2 on the Quest.
Yeah.
Only because the file size is getting way too big and I need to finish it so I can uninstall it from my Quest.
I need to finish that one as well. I come back to it every once in a while, but it is such a huge game.
Yeah. I think it went from like 20 gigs and there was an update the other day and it went up to 30. So I'm like, come on. So I people don't know this about me, but I actually have the smaller sized Quest. So people always assume that I got the the 512 gig or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I have to uninstall things.
You got the 128.
Yeah,
128. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, Asgard's Wrath. That game just like it's a lot longer than most VR games, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting. We could probably do this next time we have everybody on. I'd like to hear other people's opinion on this, but the length of games just kept getting longer and longer and longer, and now 40-hour campaign or 60-hour campaign becomes a feature, and like you were saying at the beginning, man, like with kids and everything going on, it's like I hear 60-hour campaign, and it seems like it's like I don't know, maybe that one's not for me, right?
I know. Seriously, it seems like most games are like that now, right? Like most of the big title games are. And sometimes I just need like an 8 to 10 hour game or 8 to 12 hour game to play through.
Seriously.
And I miss the days when we just had those all over the place. We don't have enough of those anymore. That's cool. That's cool.
What about you? What are you playing right
now? I actually had to make a list because I couldn't remember them all.
Too many retro machines coming out for you.
They don't stop, bro. They don't stop. They just keep coming. So I'm always playing something. Like last week, I finished Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project from the NES. I finished Batman the video game from the NES, which I had never finished before. And no joke, I don't think it's possible to beat that game without cheats turned on. I could never beat it as a kid. And I thought, man, I'm an adult now. I've been gaming for decades. This is nothing. I can beat this. No, I can't. It's impossible. It's so hard.
That's the glory. That's the beauty of older games, man. It's like the water level on the first NES Ninja Turtles. The floating electricity thing. No one can ever beat it. They had to add difficulty because we couldn't save. So and the games are really short. If you actually can get through it, they're very very short. So they had to add difficulty to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. The further I got in Batman, the more it was just like, how did anybody get past this without dying? Because I mean, it just seems impossible.
And we were kids too. Like we didn't even have our motor skills back then. So how were they expecting us to finish this?
I don't know, man. Jay Dunn from Getting Things Done, he said he's got this for you. The excellence in which you produce your content, I'm literally blown away at how quickly you have rose up in YouTube. Please continue to kill it. I agree.
Oh man. Yeah, thank you for the kind words, man. Yeah, I'm very grateful for the speed in which it grew. And it's not something that you really expect. You kind of figure you're going to have crickets, so you just kind of get out there, and then you see a couple of subscribers come in, and you're like, oh crap, I need to make another video.
Yeah.
So it's really encouraging. I said this when I hit 1,000 subscribers, though, and something I like about your channel, and it's really a place to kind of nerd out. And I know I'm probably kind of slipping into the program of what we're talking about today, but like something that's important in social and in media is like I got to 1,000 subscribers, and I wanted to acknowledge that they're not fans, they're fellow enthusiasts. And I always keep that in mind, because it's like the reason people come and watch is because I'm excited about what I'm covering or what I'm talking about. And the moment that isn't true, then it gets a little weird, right? It's like the focus gets a little bit off. So I'm just staying true to that, man. I'm so grateful for the growth, but that's what it's all about. And that's actually kind of where it started. I started to talk about VR with some of my friends who play a lot of flat games, and they don't play VR. And I was so excited about it. I'm talking about it. They're kind of glassing over, okay,
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
People don't get it.
I'll find my own tribe, right? Why not?
Well, that's Jay Dunn here. He's like, keep being authentically you. Subscribe the first day I saw a video from you. I did too, actually. And
That's awesome.
uh, and yeah, Jay Dunn, he plays VR too. He's a VR
I'm
channel,
familiar.
and
I'm
yeah,
familiar. I actually subscribed to Jay Dunn after seeing him on this show.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, yeah. You two are like the only two people I know that play VR games, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So people
I,
don't
I will.
understand.
I will say this: it's so nice because like I did a video on how to set up virtual desktop, and there were some really smart people in the comments, man. Like they were coming in, they were telling me about bit rates and codecs and stuff, and I'm like, man, I have found my people. Like this is like no one would talk about how to get smooth FPS in their headset this
Right.
long with me, you know. So it's like, yeah, I found my folks. This is definitely what's up.
Yeah, they're out there. They are out there.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Before we get too far into your channel, I'm going to finish what I've been playing here real quick.
Yeah.
So the other guys had talked about, or Zach, he's usually on here. He talked about Little Kitty Big City. Falcon had talked about that as well, and I was like, you got to tell me about that. So I started playing that. It is just basically a cozy cat game, man. I don't know if you ever played
is this the one where you are the cat? Is that this one?
You're the cat and you fall off your window seal from like a high rise, and it looks like you're maybe I don't know, in Tokyo or something like that, like an Asian city, a big Asian city, and and you're trying to get back up to your apartment, but you've never been, I guess, down in the street before, and so it's almost like a country boy moves to the big city and everybody's really mean, kind of like that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, like people are taking advantage of you, or other animals are taking advantage of you and stuff, and you're starting to wreak havoc on everybody down there, and so you're just trying to get back to your window seal.
That's interesting.
It's real cozy though. It's just basically a puzzle game, more or less. But then on the other end, started playing another Crab's Treasure, which is another indie game, but it's like a Souls-like game. But you play as this cute little crab who gets his shell confiscated by the Ocean King or something, who's raised his taxes or something like that, something silly like that. Right. And so you're trying to get your shell back, and you go into the ocean, and everybody's trying to kill you, and it's like so hard. I've died like 50 times, and I've only played it for about 2 hours. So
that's hilarious.
It's so it's really cute and colorful, but man, they just keep killing me over and over again. And then
that's great.
The one of the other things I've been playing a ton because I'm testing for a review. I'm testing this mini PC.
Okay.
And so I've been playing a bunch of PC games, but one of the things that I saw the other day that I said made me mad or upset me, I was just on Twitter browsing through, and I had a few weeks ago seen this developer post about a game they had made. It's been out for a little while, but it just released on Xbox. It's called Hypercharged Unboxed. I don't know if you've
heard of that one.
Heard of this one. Okay. So, well, actually, I can show you a trailer that I have already pulled up here. Let that play for a second. But it's basically like this, like 80s, 90s looking game where you play as an action figure. And so it's like Toy Story meets an FPS game. And it's a really cool game, and I've had it wishlisted for a long time, but I hadn't bought it before, obviously. And so I see this guy post, because it's like a team of like 5 or 6 people that made this game, and they just released it on Xbox finally. It's been out on Switch for a few years, I think. It's been on Steam for I don't know how long, but they, in like a month or so on Xbox, they sold 100,000 copies on the Xbox store, and they were just like posting about how grateful they were to people for supporting them, and how they never thought that they would sell so much. And I mean, the guy was like in tears. He was so thankful.
That's great.
And just so humble and authentic and genuine in his thanks to the people for supporting them in their game, and how they had poured their heart and soul into it and all this stuff, right? And it was really a heartwarming and genuine post from him. And so I followed them because I just thought, man, that's so cool that he would just come on. He was just so real and raw.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And so
the game looks sick, though. I mean, I see why people like it.
Yeah, it does look sick. So I see this other person post about it, leave a comment about this game, and they're like being a jerk about like, why would you celebrate selling 100,000 copies like this is some kind of big deal? This is nothing. Like other indie developers have sold millions.
Yeah.
And just like being a real turd about it. And it's like, what is the point in this post? To just tear somebody else down? I do not like that. And it's so counterproductive in every way, in my opinion, to behave that way. You're not making anyone better by saying those kinds of things. It wasn't constructive criticism. It was just being mean. It was just being mean.
Yeah. It was
and it really bothered me. So it bothered me so much, in fact, that I stopped letting the game be wish listed and I bought it. I just went out and bought it right then. Because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go play this game right now.
Right.
And so I've been playing that, and it's super cool. I mean, it's I don't know. It's like a really cool FPS game. It's very unique. It looks great. It sounds great. The weapons are very like cartoony almost in what they can do. Cool. And there's a really cheesy, like very much late 80s, early 90s cartoon storyline that goes along with it about the supervillain and the heroes, and so I'm enjoying it so far. I've only played maybe a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours of it so far, but I've had a lot of fun. So
nice.
Yeah,
it looks cool. I might have to check it out. I won't wish list it too long, but yeah.
The tech update says, hi all, good to see you. Tech update. Update should be asleep dreaming right now. It's like 3 a.m. where he is. Good to see you, buddy. I'm only playing Xbox Game Pass games at this point. I don't buy flat games anymore unless I can play it in VR with virtual desktop, Steam Link on Quest, Vision Pro. Yeah. It's do you like the Xbox Game Pass app, Jason?
It's actually, I wish it worked better because the concept is amazing. It's cloud, it's a little, it's finicky. So like one day it works and then other days it just doesn't work. Like you'll just tap a game and it just doesn't launch or whatever. So I noticed that because I was trying it in a workspace app. The one I just did a video on it called Fluid. You could do it just over the browser in there. And it wasn't working well. So I was almost thinking it was that app, but then I went back to the official Xbox app and it was still acting the same way. So there's some infrastructure things that need to be ironed out for sure. But like Jay Dunn was saying, I get on Steam and play through the headset, and having your own personal 90-inch screen, it's like it's cool.
Oh yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. My first TV was a black and white TV, so we've come a long way.
Yeah. I had a black and white TV back in the day too.
Yeah. My mom thought the NES would break all the nice TVs, so I got no black and white one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All that 8-bit color was really gonna push stuff.
That back then, in the 80s, it's like if you plug something into the television, you're gonna break it because you're a child, so
yeah. That's true. That was the mindset of a lot of people back then.
Yeah.
The tech update. Really wanted to watch the live stream as it happened. Well, we're glad that you're here, man.
Yeah, welcome.
And yeah, y'all go check him out. He's a YouTuber as well. If you own an Xbox, you can sideload the Android Xbox app on Quest and play your actual Xbox games pretty well. Yeah,
very cool. Yeah, awesome. I might have to try that. My Xbox is literally unplugged and in the closet over there. I feel ashamed. That's how far away from flat I've got.
Well, let's see. Yeah, so the jerk on there, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about this guy? I've been looking at this verse right here. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger.
Mm.
Tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of the fool gushes folly.
Right. I always think of can't remember the verse now, but it's usually whenever people online are cruel, it usually isn't actually the external thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The noticing a speck in our brother's eye and not the plank in our own.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, and it's how I've gotten really, really positive things on my channel, but like you said, you see things like this all over the place, and you can't help but kind of dig in and think about what is that person thinking as they sit there on their couch or they're holding their phone somewhere and they've made the decision to be cruel.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? It can't be the stranger they're talking to online. It has to be something inside them that's, brought them low enough to a place where they've chosen to be cruel instead of being kind.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what is that old saying that hurt people hurt people?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Yeah. I don't know, but I think that there's a better way to live, right? And I think that those that are believers in Christ can set that example and should set that example, and show others that life is better when we encourage one another. So Proverbs is a great place to find a lot of wisdom with that, because Proverbs really at its core is a book. It's proverbs. It's a book that tells us what to do, like how to act, the actions that we need to bring to the world. And so this one here, the words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. And I think that when we sit down, like you said, what was that person thinking? Did they sit down and were they really intentionally trying to be cruel, or were they being reckless with their words?
Exactly.
And not really thinking about how this is going to affect people. Maybe they wrote it and didn't even think the devs would ever even see it. But I think that, in today's world where we live in this technologically connected space across the world instantly, you have to assume that there's definitely a chance that anything I say might come up, or might come up in somebody else's feed or be seen by whoever I'm saying such a thing about. And we don't want to pierce people with swords. We want to bring healing. We want to bring healing to the world.
And if we could stay on 12:18 for a second, if you notice what happens if you choose words of healing, a lot of times when you're sharing something with someone and you choose to heal them, you'll find a way to heal yourself. Because if you take that moment to say, okay, I'm going to lift this person up, right?
Yeah.
That energy, that way of thinking, you kind of breaking through any negative thinking and trying to find the positive in someone else, that's infectious. It'll come back to you and shift your way of thinking as well. So the healing goes both ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. Where are we at here? Jay Dunn says it's all about the fruit of the Spirit as well. We need to always operate in the fruits. That's right. And,
Amen to that.
kindness is one of those fruits. And I think that kindness is honestly one thing that we don't talk about enough. Y'all go ahead and preach then. We're going to take an offering.
gonna pass the plate here soon.
Yep. I think YouTube calls them super chats, but yeah. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, man. Yeah, let's be people who bring healing and not pierce with swords. I got this one other one here I pulled up for this convo. It's Ephesians 4:29. Mm-hmm. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. And again, right. In a world where we're so public, right? These words were so public. Anyone could have come across them and read them. Are your words benefiting those who listen? Mm-hmm. And when you're just when you're needlessly cruel, they don't.
Yeah.
They just don't benefit anybody.
Yeah. And if I could, I'll bring in a secular quote and then bring it back.
Yeah.
But Mike Tyson said, the internet made people forget that saying things like this would get you punched in the face, right? And I think bringing it back, I think it also forgets that your conduct and the things you say and the way you treat people does have a mark on your soul.
Yeah.
And I feel like the anonymity of being behind the keyboard makes you forget that. It's like, this is still you. You still typed it. You still said something cruel to someone, know, your soul still took that mark, right? I feel like people forget that. Whatever your belief system is, I think it has a lasting impact. How you're conducting your spirit, whether it's online or anywhere else. Are you being a good steward of who you are to everyone else?
Yeah, that's a great point. I love that. Well, there you go. There you have it.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you do this on the show, man. I feel like it's necessary, especially I know we believers love to talk about God and talk about staying close to our spirituality, but I feel like people get afraid to talk about it, and then next thing you know, they're yelling cruel things at people in a comment section. So staying close is important.
Absolutely. And I want to say that, I intentionally did not show or pull up this tweet from this person to show, because I don't want to pierce him with swords, and I don't want anybody else going after this person either. I just want us to take a moment to reflect on, how do we conduct ourselves, and is it in a way that's going to benefit and heal other people and ourselves. And I think that it's important to reflect on those things. The tech update, it's usually from a place of hurt. Sounds a bit cliche, but it is so true many times. The challenge is handling that correctly. We can love when someone hates, but the challenge for me is finding the line where we say, no, that is enough, as sometimes it becomes abusive and needs to be dealt with tough love. Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, I missed this other one. The people who usually do things like that are in some kind of trouble. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you having that discussion with me, man.
For sure.
I really do. Let's talk about the construct for a little bit. Your channel, I'm going to let you tell the origin story of your channel. but you started in January. It's kind of exploded for you a little bit. You're
Hmm.
almost at 4,000 subscribers. Your videos have way more views than a channel your old has any business having. It's pretty awesome to see.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and you don't have that many videos, really, to
Yeah.
be
I
at
haven't broke
where
20
you
yet.
are.
Yeah. We're trying to get to 20 videos this week. Yeah.
Nice, very nice. So I want to hear, what was your motivation for doing this, or what was the mission behind it? What's the origin story? What was going on in your mind when you started this channel and in your heart?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. It's interesting, and it's great that like we connected, because I'm someone who really procrastinates a lot.
Mm,
I really do. And it comes from a sense of perfectionism.
hmm.
And the start of my channel, I actually have a different channel on YouTube, from a while ago, and I was trying to do things about web design, and it was very misdirected channel, and I ended up abandoning it. Um, and I always felt bad about that. And it was actually for the reason my channel started at the time it did is actually part of my Lenten journey. It was a Lent thing, um, where a lot of people give up chocolate for Lent or something like that, and I decided it was going to be my 40 days to actually do what I intended to do and stop procrastinating, kind of break through that.
Nice. You
And
gave up procrastination. I like it.
yeah, I gave up procrastination. Exactly, exactly. So it was one of those things where I said, you know what, I'm not gonna make any excuses. I'm not going to always talk myself out of things. And I had a deep passion for VR, mixed reality, and like I was saying earlier, not many of my friends did. So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, I'm gonna start a channel. I'm gonna find a tribe around that. But a lot of it early on was just me making and doing the thing, like not giving myself the opportunity to make the excuse not to do the thing. So um, I'm super passionate about it because I feel like being an old gamer, like I think I say my first game would be probably NES, like Super Mario Brothers, but it had started before that. Like I was the person playing Pong on Atari and all that,
Nice.
and seeing where we've come now, like the moment I put on a headset and I felt like I was inside of a video game,
Yeah.
my 5-year-old dreams had literally come true.
Uh-huh.
you know it absolutely blew my mind. So from that it moved to just the mixed reality stuff. And I'm an adult and a dad, so the work stuff obviously kind of stood out to me too, because like if I could just stay in this thing and have this much fun working, let's see how that goes, right?
Yeah.
um so yeah, so I went full throttle into the channel. And people always told me I had a gift of kind of public speaking and teaching and things like that. So I know my way around the camera, and all those things kind of like connected together. And
Yeah.
here we are now, monetized in less than 90 days and almost 4,000 subscribers later. It's been an amazing journey.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. Would you say that um that VR has like reignited your love of gaming?
I think so. I think so. And it's something I think everybody's going through. I know like you have to be under a rock to not see the gaming fatigue all over
Hmm.
the internet right now. And I had reached some of that. And I had an opportunity to game a lot when I was a young software engineer. I got to work from home. This is way before the pandemic. I was one of those cool guys who got to work from home when no one else did, right? So, I'd code something and finish something, ship it, and then I got to game for the rest of the day. So,
Nice.
um, a single guy with a job, so all the bills are paid. Single guy at home with a game console. Like if I have to say so myself, I probably kind of overdosed on games, having that much availability.
Yeah.
you know, a pizza box and a game console. So I played a lot, and I played those 40-hour campaigns. I played those 60-hour campaigns. I, then things like Destiny come out, and you run the raid, with all three
Right.
characters every week, things like that. So I played a lot of games. So it got to the point where there was nothing I hadn't done. And the shift in how you play a VR game was exactly what I needed. It was exactly what I needed. It felt different. You couldn't do it for that long. You didn't find yourself stuck on a game for hours and hours and hours, because you physically got tired. You just couldn't do it that long.
Yeah.
Your face starts to hurt, after an hour or two.
The battery dies too.
Yeah, or the battery dies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of, it hit that sweet spot. It let me game, and it was almost kind of like everything I needed, because it was so much more engaging than flat. That I had a blast for just an hour, and then I can go back and take care of my family and do work and whatnot. So it really hit a sweet spot from that perspective.
Yeah. Do you find yourself enjoying VR games or mixed reality games more?
Ooh, VR. There's something very, very unique about VR, and not a lot of people talk about this. And it's something that I've talked about in different corners of the internet when it comes to the Apple Vision Pro. So the Apple Vision Pro kind of excels at mixed reality, and if you stand still, it does do immersive things. But the moment that really blew my mind when playing VR, so I finally started getting into PC VR. So you got those AAA graphics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not doing the cartoony thing anymore. I'm in Half-Life Alyx. There's this hallway where it's right before you get a flashlight in the game. And there's this dark hallway, and there's a zombie hanging from the ceiling with a flashlight on it. And I had set up a really large play space in my living room into my dining room, just really, really big.
Yeah.
And I'm in this hallway, and I physically have to walk down this dark hallway with a zombie at the end of it. And there's sounds, and just taking those physical steps yourself.
Yeah.
Feeling like you're actually there. It's just nothing like it,
Yeah.
So like mixed reality is fun, but you're still kind of in your living room, and you're dealing with all the jankiness from it not quite mapping out right. But that level of immersion and that feeling of presence in VR, it's just nothing like it, man. It's really not.
Yeah. I think that the mixed reality stuff, that's still so new. I think that they're going to get the mapping figured out. They've already made improvements with it. Even on the Quest with some firmware updates, but
yeah.
Sure. I think, 5 years from now, I think that they might have all that figured out in terms of mapping stuff to your room, but it's pretty impressive even now. I like mixed reality because it doesn't induce motion sickness at all.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really not. And I think that a lot of people would enjoy mixed reality gaming if they had the chance to play it for that reason. Mm-hmm. But there is something so crazy about being in virtual reality. And similarly to your hallway experience, one of the first games I played was Vader Immortal. And there's a scene where the Empire captures your ship right at the beginning of the game. And this the guy who, I don't know, like the commander of the stormtroopers, he's this huge guy.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he's like 7 foot tall or something. He's crazy tall. He's way taller than you. He walks up onto your ship and walks right up and gets in your face. Mm-hmm. And I literally took a step back because I was like, this guy's about to hit me. He's about to deck me. And I was getting prepared. And I was like, wait, this isn't real. But I totally fell for it. It was so I was so there. I was there, everything was great. There.
That's great. My favorite moment like that was Super Hot, if you're familiar with that game. You stop moving and time stops. But I'm not as young as I used to be. So I'm dodging bullets, and I'm like leaning, and I'm in this kind of weird like twister position because I'm trying to dodge a bullet and like trying to keep my head in a certain way. There's a box in the game to the right of me, and I'm kind of having a hard time keeping this like crazy pose. And I forget for just a half second, and I try to lean on the box with my hand, forgetting that it's not actually there. And I just fall flat on my butt in the middle of my kitchen. I'm so glad no one was there to witness it, but yeah, I completely, my brain just forgot that's not a real
Yeah.
box, and I tried to lean on it. Yeah,
I've tried to lean on a couple of things as well. I haven't fallen yet, but I have
yeah,
tried to lean on some things.
yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. I tried to lean on something in Vacation Simulator not just a couple of weeks ago.
Fantastic.
Not even like a super serious game, but I tried to like put my hands up on a table or something, and then you just fell through. I was like, whoa, that's not
Yeah,
really there, you
yeah.
idiot.
That's
uh,
fantastic, man.
yeah.
One thing that you should probably try. I don't know if you tried either of these. Well, one of them didn't happen. Astrobot was supposed to be in VR, but it's not for PS5. But
Hmm.
there's a game out on Quest called Max Mustard.
Yes, I
That's what
love
it's
Max
called.
Mustard.
Okay,
It's
yeah, yeah.
so
I
good.
figured you would. I figured you would. Yeah, yeah. Like that's kind of like the best of both worlds. Just kind of combining. You got your old
Yeah,
school platformer, but you're in VR.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's super
yeah.
good. And that's a game that's really comfortable too if you are prone to motion sickness.
Motion sickness. Yeah,
That
yeah.
one's should be fine.
Yeah.
I like that they have that rating in the store, like tells you the comfort
How
level of it.
comfortable it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's important. It's important. I introduced VR to a friend of mine, and the back then Pavlov was free, so just kind of like a Call of Duty style shooter.
yeah,
And I probably shouldn't have introduced him to like a first person shooter first time in
yeah,
VR, but yeah, he got a little nauseous. So
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm gonna go to a couple of these comments, and then I want to come back to you on this because I have a couple more questions for you. Um, Jay Dunn says that about your Lent, giving up procrastination, that's a true sacrifice. Not many of us have friends who play VR. It's true. But he's blessed to have a wife that does. They fell in love with it
yeah, that's
together, so
awesome.
that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, VR sounds awesome. Would be interesting if we could get to a place where something like Ready Player One.
yeah.
It's
We're
just a
trying.
matter
We're
of
trying.
time.
Yeah, everyone's trying.
Yeah. How long have you been in VR? What was your first headset? I'm
It's
curious about that as well. And then lastly, I learned on a virtual pool table and leaned on a virtual pool table
yeah.
and fell a few times.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. It's you're not fully seasoned until you almost fall in VR.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but yeah, Jay Dunn. I actually been interested in it for a while though. Actually, I don't have it. It's not nearby to grab, but the Samsung Gear VR back when we were sticking phones in front of our face.
Yeah, yeah,
that's where I got hooked. Google Cardboard, Samsung VR
yeah.
era. I had a buddy with the first Quest, the Quest One, but I never bought it, so I came in at the Quest Two. So been a huge
Nice.
fan. Yeah, huge fan for a while.
Nice. I'm still new to the scene. I haven't
Yeah.
had one until the Quest 3.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Wow. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you joined at a good time though. You joined at a great time.
I know. I kind of have been waiting,
Yeah.
honestly. I was like the Quest 2 because the price was tempting with the Quest 2. It
Hmm.
was, but it's like I just don't know if the tech and the resolution and stuff is quite there yet where I wanna invest in this. And so
Yeah.
when the Quest 3 came out, I was like, okay, I'm ready now. I think
Right.
we're all ready now.
Yeah. With the lenses,
Uh-huh.
and everything, that we've hit a really nice spot with the Quest
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. I played FPS on the Quest at a local gaming expo we have here. We had a big player space and people walking with us, but we still almost walked into each other, sneaking up around a corner. Yeah.
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 Yeah. There's a game that just got announced by Meta called Spatial Ops, and it's mixed reality, and it kind of puts like a paintball map in your house, and you can
Yeah.
it's local multiplayer, so you can play against your friend with a headset. I definitely need to find more friends with a
It
headset.
looks cool.
that I
You got to
yeah,
know somebody else with a headset. That's the
exactly.
problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The one guy I know here, he gets motion sickness too much, so he never plays with his. So
Oh, well, that would be in mixed reality, right?
yeah,
Wouldn't it be?
it shouldn't be too bad in mixed reality. I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gear VR, I have that one as well. Same time as me. It was great for the time.
It was.
I did try the Google Cardboard way back in the day for a little bit and watched like a Netflix show on it or something, and it was cool, but I didn't spend too much time with it. It wasn't mine. I didn't get to keep it. Resolution Games always has invite for games. Me and Joy play Racket Club a ton in mixed reality. Okay.
Nice. Yeah. There's a couple of spots that I wanted to go check out that, you know, that have like parties, 7 people go in and play or whatever. So I think especially with spatial ops, I think there might be more places popping up. If apps are like that, then all you have to do is buy some headsets and, you know, charge admission. You know, it's not bad at all. J Dunn wants to get together and play.
Yeah, man, we got to get each other's usernames for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm easy. I'm the Construct. I think I'm at the Construct VR, but you know, it's easy.
Okay.
If you're watching this, everybody, if I don't respond to your friend requests, I'm making videos.
There you go. I don't even remember what mine is. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It sounds like an old school PC land just with VR. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Oh, man. Yeah. So here's a question I have for you about your channel.
Sure.
You consciously made a decision to, you don't really cover games on your channel. You cover more like productivity and the technology itself on your channel. What made you go that route? Because, you know, most people, they might cover some of that, but they'll do mostly games. And you kind of did the complete opposite. What made you come to that decision?
Yeah, I felt like it was a gap. It was a content gap. It was something I was looking for, and there just wasn't a lot of it. And unfortunately, that's kind of the game of YouTube. It's really hard to compete in saturated spaces. So that was intentional, but I was actually interested in it. So it's genuine. My wife laughs at me when I'm sitting in the house, you know, pinching the air all the time. You know, so it's genuine. I do it even when I'm not making videos. But something else too, a couple of things about that. There are a lot of guys covering VR gaming, but there's another reason why I haven't yet, because I actually do want to cover games on my channel, and I will, but there's this thing that's going on right now with VR gaming, is that because VR gaming is so immersive and so exciting, I feel like it's really easy to be excited about games that really just aren't that good. And I didn't want to continue that trend. There's a guy on YouTube, Mr. Voice. He made some great videos about this topic, but some VR games are really bad. Like if they were flat games, you would not play them.
Okay.
They're so bad, right? So there's not as much good things to cover. And if I would have started covering some of those games, I probably would have just sounded like an angry gamer. You know, I would have had a whole different vibe on my channel. But there are some great ones out there. I mean, there's some good stuff to do, like as far as like sports and things like that. There's some great titles that are very, very close to AAA style titles. So I think I'll probably be a lot more choosy in my game coverage. I feel like a lot of the game coverage out there for VR is just like, everything's great, play everything. And I just don't agree with that.
Well, so I kind of feel like that in the tech space and even just normal flat gaming space a lot of times as well. Like, well, especially in tech space, I feel like a lot of times people just aren't super honest about the negatives of whatever they're reviewing. And that's something I've had to challenge myself with, especially like when I get one of these handheld devices and it's new and I'm like, I'm kind of pumped about it. And I see all the positive things and like, I want to share all this, but then I got to reel it back. Right. And I got to think, okay, but why would someone not buy this? Like, what are the negative things that people need to know about this as well? And I don't think you always see that with people. And so I totally get what you're saying. That's cool. So can you give me an example of a game in VR that you like? It gets really positive coverage, but you're like, I don't know, that's not
There
very
was
good.
there were I can give you two examples where this
Okay.
happened to me. One of them was Stride. It's like a I don't know what I mean. What's a flat
Like
game that would be the equivalent? Mirror's Edge was the flat game. If you remember Mirror's Edge
okay,
on 360,
yeah,
it's basically Mirror's Edge in VR, right?
yeah,
So you're running on rooftops and things like that. And the problem with that game is if you stop moving, you realize that the AI is like pretty much not existent.
yeah,
So it's like if you run around and you're killing bad guys and stuff, and you try to kind of make the game look cool, then it
uh-huh.
will look cool. But the game's not really doing a whole lot. You're just really kind of hyped up on the fact that you're running around in VR and you're jumping from rooftop to rooftop.
You're doing a lot, but the
You're
game
doing a
itself
lot of the
is
work.
pretty static. The people in
Yeah,
the game are
yeah,
pretty static. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And to the point where you're kind of like, if you run up to an enemy and just like kind of stop and then just kind of punch them a little bit, or like fall
Hmm.
over, it's like you're not actually challenged. You're not really playing a game. You're just kind
Right.
of so a lot of games like fall into that tech demo land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one that another one that really was disappointing. I saw all of these positive reviews, and this one really wasn't pumped up too much on YouTube or anything like that, but uh, it was called Battle Talent, I think, and it's just kind of a hack and slash sandbox where you could just kill goblins with like swords and things like that. But it seemed like it was amazing from the reviews. Everybody was so excited, and I turned it on. I bought it. I ended up returning it, but it was
Do you
just so bad,
do you
so bad.
mean the written reviews, like the user reviews,
Yeah,
or
the
do you
user
mean
reviews.
the? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So and there's a reason for that, man. I feel like VR is such a great space, and people really want it to survive and they want it to flourish. So it's like, hey, there's something in VR and it's new. I don't care what it is or how it performs. It's amazing. It's amazing just because I'm in VR and I'm doing this thing.
Mhm.
So like there's bad flat games and
Oh yeah.
they get praised because the graphics are really good. So it's kind of that same
Yeah.
thing. It's like these games are bad, but they're praised because they're in VR. It's that same kind of issue.
Yeah.
Um, if you look anywhere past that first layer, you're like, this is probably not a game I should play.
Do Do you think that some of these games feeling unfinished or like tech demo-y is because of the limitations of earlier hardware? Like a lot of Quest 2 games, you can now play on Quest 3, but most of them haven't been updated in any way. Um, and obviously aren't taking advantage of what the Quest 3 could do. Now
Yeah.
we are still in the first year of its life cycle, and I think that we are starting to see games being developed for that. Like I'm really excited about Batman Arkham Shadow, and I've been watching some interviews about that game, and what the way they're describing the combat is, it sounds incredible. It sounds really really fun,
Mhm.
and doesn't sound like the enemies are just standing still and or whatever. Like it sounds like you're going to be Batman and people are going to be trying to take you down.
Right. Yeah.
So do you think that some of that tech demo stuff is because we were really learning how to develop these kinds of games, like the early days of 3D gaming,
Mhm.
where like the camera and stuff was janky on
Yeah.
a lot of early
Yeah, for
3D
sure.
games because we were learning how to do that? Do you think that's going to diminish with time and get better over time?
I think so. I mean, there's some great games out there that really work well. I think early on we were challenged with we had a lot of flat game makers making VR games. There
Uh-huh.
are a lot of challenges. There's a lot of challenges for processing power and rendering. I mean, just the simple fact that like in a VR game, if you're holding a gun, in a flat game, that gun stays rendered exactly how the designer put it,
Right,
right?
right, right, right.
In VR, you can turn it upside down. You can look at the bottom of it. You can, you shouldn't flag yourself and look at the front of it, but there's different things you have to consider. You can control in flat games, you can control where the user looks. You can control how far they can see, but in VR, you have to consider that the person might look right if the action's on the left. So you have to think
Yeah.
about all those things. So I feel like the effort to develop VR games was a lot more significant than people thought. So then they had to dial it back. They had to kind of put it on rails and shrink it a little bit to kind of control the experience, right? So we got these weird kind of small tech demo games. But what ends up happening is you end up with games like Boneworks. I'm sure you've probably heard of Boneworks in the VR space. And the reason that one worked so well was because that it stayed just simple enough to allow you to just run around and do whatever you want, and you could never really break the game. So it really worked as a game where people could come in, play VR, do weird stuff, throw things at whatever, and you weren't challenged to try to be as polished as, you know, Gears of War or something. You didn't have that challenge. So we're at this point now where we're trying to bridge that gap. So you have things like Half-Life Alyx, you know, where they do a really good job. But if you look closely, if you really pay attention to Half-Life Alyx, it's still in that same box. It's really on rails. They keep that environment really packed down, so you can't do anything too weird, right? Once we try to get outside of that, then you start seeing where VR breaks down. Like your hand starts to clip through the wall too much, and weird things start to happen, right? So I'm not a VR game developer, but just per my observations, it seems like it's challenging. It really does. It seems like it's not as we're just not as matured in VR game development as we are in flat.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Jay Dunn here says he totally agrees. He's not been covering as many games lately for the same reasons. They only make videos about the games they really love. They cover mixed reality games as a genre in reels and shorts. Right now, the Vision Pro, we barely have anything. That's true. So I try to cover anything that's coming out at the moment. I hope some more stuff comes out for Vision Pro soon. I'm sure it will, but so that's definitely a challenge to find the right balance with good games and coverage.
Mm-hmm.
The big problem is games like I Am Cat and Gorilla Tag games that are super popular, but I would never play because I'm a grown man.
Right. Exactly.
I downloaded Gorilla Tag and I cannot bring myself to hit start on that game. I know it's super popular, but I just can't even do it. To me, I can hear the voices of dozens of 10-year-old kids, running around saying crazy stuff. And it's like, this is not why I play games.
Yeah, exactly. It's really tough, man. And we being people who have played great flat games, like if you've played something like Zelda, any of them, pick one, and then you go over to a VR game that's leaning way too much on the fact that you can use your hands and you're in VR, you're looking for that rich interaction, that those RPG elements and story and stuff, and it's just not there most of the time, right? They just really want you to have fun playing in VR.
Yeah. The tech update says, love all things Batman, should be awesome in VR. Gonna go look up some vids on that one. You should. I really like the lead developer on the game has done several interviews, and he just seems like such a genuine guy. I've really enjoyed listening to him talk about the game. There just isn't that much money in VR games yet, and that is true. I think that this is probably the first time since the 8-bit generation that we've seen this high of a barrier to entry into gaming. And I think part of the reason for that is that, like what we've been talking about, like we talk to our gamer friends about VR, but it's the glass over eyes and they don't get it. And it's so hard to describe what it's like, and it's so hard to showcase it because you can make a video about it, but then it's flat. And it takes away all of that interactivity of being in that virtual world. And And
Yeah.
the graphics, honestly, for most of them, don't look as good as what we consider modern graphics, right? Because
Hmm.
it's in VR. Um, and so when it's flat, it really is hard to describe, just how fun
Yeah.
it is to be in that world. And it's not like you can go to Target, you go to Target and you can pick up a Nintendo controller and you can try out a Switch.
Hmm.
You can't do that with VR. They don't
Yeah.
have VR kiosks at Best Buy, for
They
you to try it
should, but
out.
they don't. Yeah.
uh, Somebody would have to come by and clean the headset every time somebody picked it up,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
and
Yeah.
the puke when somebody threw up all over everything. And so
Yeah.
they don't have those, and that makes it really hard. It's a really hard sell. It's a really hard sell to
Yeah.
say, yeah, I'm going to spend $500 and pick this up,
Yeah.
just because I'm curious. Well, then what if you don't like it? You can't return it. You've already opened it.
Yeah. There's another barrier to entry. You know, like you were saying, versus a controller, like putting on a headset, completely covering your field of vision is asking a lot for people,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And then on top of that, there's this history in gaming where gaming is built to make you feel powerful. You know, um, if you wanted to be a Spartan, you wanted to be Master Chief, you can go and go and conquer the galaxy or whatever. And VR is quite different because you're not a super soldier, you're not a master assassin, and you will drop the gun halfway through the mission, and you're just a guy, you're just an IT guy, so you're not really great at reloading the shotgun shells before the zombie gets to you. You're actually going to fumble
Yeah.
a little bit. So I feel like that kind of turns away a pretty big base of people where it's like they put it on, they try a game, and then just a simple shooter or something, and they realize they have to pull the mag out and
Yeah.
put it
Right.
in and rack the bullet or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, I have to do that every time on my own,
Yeah.
instead of just pressing X. It's a big difference. It's a different
That's true.
experience for sure.
I also think that there's a lot of people who might have gotten a chance to try it out, 5-10 years ago. And
Hmm.
when the resolution was a lot lower and
Yeah, yeah,
things were even more tech demo-y than they are now. And it seemed like a gimmick. And maybe because I think some of the motion sickness does come from low res textures and stuff on things, and
hmm,
a lower refresh rate. And so maybe they did get sick watching or playing something, years ago,
yeah,
when they had a chance to try it out and were curious. And now, they don't realize how much better it's gotten.
right,
And
yeah,
um and so they've convinced themselves that it's not something they're interested in, when really at this point it's worth giving it a second shot, in my opinion,
right.
to try it out.
I'll tell you one thing. Like whenever I play a shooter now, I can't unsee on flat. I can't
Hmm.
unsee the fact that I'm just dragging a dot around in the middle of the screen. I can't unsee it
Mm, mm,
because when you're in VR, you're literally holding up the
right.
weapon and actually putting the iron sight near your eye, and you're actually aiming at the thing.
Yeah.
But when I play flat, it's just that dot in the middle of the screen. That's just
Uh-huh.
you're just putting a
Just
dot
moving
on
it
things.
around.
Yeah, I can't unsee it now.
Oh
It's
man. I'm not to that point yet. Oh, that sounds
crazy.
terrible. Oh
It
gosh.
does. It is quite terrible. Yeah, yeah. It's like the glass is broken and I can't find all the pieces. I can't put it back together now.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah,
Well, I have one other question about for you.
yeah.
Uh, it's not necessarily about your channel, but just about VR in general. And I wrote it down, and I wanted to read it, make sure I got it right. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. So basically, how do you look at VR and how it has changed over the last few years? How do you think VR, because you're doing a lot of productivity stuff,
Hmm.
like the video you came out with this morning, with Fluid and V67.
Yeah.
Um, how do you see VR headsets changing not just the gaming landscape, but the work landscape over the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think it's going to make an impact in how people actually work? Or is it
You
going
know,
to continue to be a very niche thing, in the next 10 years? What do you think?
it'll, it's funny. 5 years, I say it stays niche. I feel like we're far too behind in comfort and ease of use. I think that's huge. That's one of the reasons why I like the app that I covered this morning, Fluid. It's easy to get into. You don't have to do a lot of setup and things like that. I think we're as far as working in VR, we're up for some serious challenges because we're very very comfortable with our mouse and keyboards and our monitors right now, right? And our phones. We're very comfortable with those things. So until we find a way for it to be more comfortable to do it with something strapped to our face, it's just going to be a side project for a lot of people. I do think that we are at a point where we want to put down our phones and not always have a device with us.
Yeah.
So, AWE was a little while ago, and I didn't get to make it out there, but there's some really cool stuff out there that doesn't look as big as like a Quest headset, right? There's a lot of things out there.
Yeah.
And as soon as those things become as easy as using your phone, I think that will be the transition. So I would give it, more like 10 years. I think 5 years we'll see the we'll see the tech shrink. That's there you go. But we'll see it shrink, and I think that'll be like the first step to get more adoption into it, and then there'll be like another 5 years before we start to see something as small as like the Meta Ray-Bans actually function, and do everything we need it to do, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hype around those glasses right now. I covered a pair, the Rocket Max Air something on the channel late last year, or maybe it was early this year. I don't remember, but they were fun. They were cool. No, it was late last year. They were cool. Gaming on it was pretty fun. It was nice to have that big screen, but that's all it was. It was just a singular screen that, it had no other functionality. It was just glasses that you wore on your face, and then you had to plug them into whatever as your display.
And you immediately wanted to pick up your phone and tell somebody how bad they were. It's like you're still going to the devices that make you comfortable. Yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah. So I I gamed on it, and I tried to do some work on it. But I don't know. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of hype around those right now, and I feel like I just saw in the with AWE happening recently, there were a lot of devices announced like that, I feel like. And so I do wonder, is the industry going to try to push us towards just like singular screen glasses displays, or can we go further than that and do what the Quest and what the Apple Vision Pro are trying to do here?
The moment we're able to put on glasses that are as light as the glasses that we might wear on a regular day, and we're able to accomplish the same amounts of things, that'll be the day. Like I said, I don't see it any sooner than 10 years out at this point. We're just not there. I feel like the Apple Vision Pro entered the market to kind of show us what's possible. But if you look at the Apple Vision Pro, look how heavy it is, look how big it is.
Yeah.
It's like when you see pictures of the first calculator and it was like the size of a bedroom or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that we're kind of in those infant stages, right? Where we still have to strap toasters to our face just to kind of do a proof of concept, right? And
yeah.
So we'll get there eventually,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that those will be exciting times when we do get there. I remember trying Google Glass back like, I don't know, 14 years ago or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And that being like, whoa, I can't believe they can do this. But it was honestly a pretty terrible experience, if we're being honest.
It was. I think it was actually a stage demo by Google that I think sealed the deal and killed it. I can't remember who was up there doing it, but the guy's like trying to like use it on stage, and he's doing this thing where you have to nod or whatever to kind of confirm your selection, and he's on the screen and he's just like looking up and like nodding, and he just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that killed it. I mean, nobody's going to want to look like that guy while they're trying to navigate through their Google Glass. Like, it completely removes the want for it, It's the worst.
Yeah. Only tried VR once about 6 months ago at the expo I mentioned was the Quest 2, but I loved it even though the graphics were not as good as PC. I love the experience. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is the peripheral field of view on the Rocket not distracting? So those glasses, I didn't think so, because you can. So there's two ways you can use it. One is that it's just like, it's like they're just sunglasses and you can see through, so you can see your whole room, but it uses a mirror to project the screen down in front of your face. So, but it's kind of opaque, so you can actually look through it. But then they come with a covering that you can snap on there to make your front field of your front vision black all out. And so you can wear it either way. And I didn't think that it made it distracting in any way, but that might be different depending on who you are. Guessing it does not completely envelop your field of view. No, it does not. You can see out your peripherals and through the glasses. Yeah. Extral is pretty good and has AR apps. Check out the Beam Pro and Extral glasses. We will have a video on it soon. Cool.
Yeah, I'm actually excited. I'm looking forward to that one, Jay Dunn.
AWE didn't have some pretty incredible glasses. I feel like I saw like several things. I didn't watch the coverage of that super hardcore, but I feel like I saw several things. I think we will see glasses in 5 years, but I also agree within 10 years we will be fully there. Yeah. I think it's going to take another 10 years because most people are not early adopters. Like, I feel like we're a little bit more on the early adopter side of things. Like, I'm curious. I'm a very curious person. I like to try things out for myself and see what it's all about. And I can talk myself out of it, but I do my research first, right? Anyway, a lot of people need more time, and that's fine.
Yeah. We have to unlearn our habits to get new ones, for sure.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for sharing about your channel. I meant to put it up here and I just kept forgetting. There it is.
No worries. I rarely look at it in dark mode. I might have to rethink that banner.
Oh, no, I think it looks cool, man. Oh, I was going to ask you what made you choose the Construct as your name. Obviously, very Matrix.
Yeah, the Matrix reference. Yeah. It's going to sound super, super overly complex. Not complex, but so the reason I chose it was because the Construct in the Matrix was a place, where they could load up before entering the Matrix, right? So they could like make anything they want. So it's actually a reminder to me just to make videos I want to make. It's a blank canvas. Do whatever you want. Just go for it. Because I think in creating videos, we all want to be successful. We all want that recognition, but that almost paralyzes you. So it just seemed just right to do that because I'm a huge fan of the Matrix. I do monologues from the Matrix in the kitchen while I'm washing dishes, and my wife thinks I'm crazy. But so I'm a huge fan. But it just seemed perfect. It was just that blank slate where anything is possible. You can load up anything you want. Just go for it.
Nice. Let's see. That's actually really dope. Love that quote from Morpheus in your channel info. Love that, Jason. All right. Well, very good. Man, I feel like I thought of another question just a second ago. I've forgotten what it was now. I read those comments. I guess we'll just move on to the last topic and cover this really quick tonight. If I think of it, I'll come back to that other question, but
all good.
I ran a poll earlier today, but it was late in the day. Um, who won the E3 Summer Game Fest season?
Ooh.
We saw presentations from all of the big three companies. And it must have been really hard to lie to yourself and click on PlayStation for this poll. That's all I know, because they did not show up. Xbox did, though, and Nintendo did as well. And it's shocking. It is shocking, the stuff that we're getting on the Switch in the 8th year of the Switch's life, when we all thought it would be retired by this point. So I don't know if you saw any of those shows.
Yeah, I did. Well, I think
you did, but you just saw the dot moving around on the screen. Couldn't get past it.
Right. Yeah, it was too flat. I needed another dimension. But no. I what you said about Xbox though. So I have a buddy who used to work for Xbox. He's a big fan of Xbox, and everybody kind of got sad about them killing off studios and that whole big thing from a little while ago. And I was just super impressed with the lineup. Like, had there been no controversy, or had this been, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, that would have been the best. That would have been the best set of announcements we've seen.
I think it's still the best set of announcements. It's just that it's hard to root for them when they shut down some of these studios.
Exactly. It's just hard. Yeah, it's like it's kind of like your friend, your friend that you're mad at brings you a sandwich. It's like, yeah, I still like the sandwich, but I'm still mad at you. So one thing that kind of stuck out to me when I saw the Xbox announcements was the fact that, like, I think that gamers might be part of the problem. And I don't want to take us off into too much. I know we're over an hour in, but it's interesting that we can announce amazing games like the Xbox lineup, and people will still be out there and feel like there's nothing to play, or there's no good games. And it's like, I don't know where you guys are looking. I really just don't know where. It's like, play some of these things, or play some old games. I don't think we're running out of things to play.
Man, no way.
Not with announcements like that.
No way. I have so many games in my backlog. I think that I could never buy a game ever again and still probably not finish the games that I have.
Right.
So yeah, there's plenty to play, and I think people just need to stop playing all the free to play stuff and actually buy some of these games that are good.
Yeah, exactly.
And play those instead.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't have. That might be part of the reason that we have some studio shutdowns.
Yep, exactly.
It's not the only reason, but it might be part of it. Yeah. I thought Xbox show was great. I mean, I am a huge Perfect Dark fan from back in the N64 days, my most played N64 game, and I'm super excited about that game. Hopefully, when it comes out in 2026 or so, I'm not like you and can only see the dot in the middle of the screen.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Indiana Jones, I think, looks really good as well. Really reminds me of classic Indiana Jones that I grew up with, that you grew up with, and so I'm excited about that one. I can't remember. There was a Frag Punk game that they announced that's a 5v5, and I thought that looked good. What were you going to say?
I remember Gears of War E-Day. Yeah, that Gears of War was a defining title for Xbox for me. I literally played it, for seasons. So that one might get me back to flat just to check it out.
Well, maybe they'll get the Xbox figured out on the Quest by the time that one comes out too, whatever we're playing at that point in VR.
Yeah. I'm still on Game Pass just from testing out the Xbox on the Quest, so maybe I'll be fine. I won't cancel it.
So I was testing out for a review I've filmed. I haven't edited it yet. This mobile controller, right? And I was playing Xbox Remote Play in my house, just on my home network. and I was playing PlayStation remote play as well, but it's so smooth, and I mean the lag is almost imperceptible.
Yeah.
Like if you like, I had it playing on the screen in front of me and on my phone, and I was holding them up next to each other, and I was like, I don't know if I can tell. I don't know if it's just me like imagining that I can tell, or if I can really tell. But if I do tell, it's so close.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a way, and maybe there is. Maybe there was a way to do that on my Quest 3 with my Xbox. But I
mean, that's what I think Jay Dunn was saying. That
is that what he's saying? Side loading the Android.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, side load the Android app. That's definitely a way to go about it. I mean, the tech is getting good. I put a video out a while back about optimizing virtual desktop for the Quest, and with the right networking setup, like the fact that you can do PC VR over your local network with virtually zero latency. I mean, that's a lot going on, between your PC and your headset.
Is that through Steam Link?
Well, it's actually virtual desktop. Well, yeah, it's Steam VR, but Steam Link has its own app, and Oculus, or I should say Oculus MetaLink, or whatever they call it now. They have their own apps too, but virtual desktop by far, in my opinion, is the best. It gives you a little more flexibility. But yeah, so basically they have apps that will, link up to your library on your PC, and you can just play. It really increases the value of the Quest because you have those entire libraries to play,
Right.
Just using your Quest.
I haven't gotten that far down the rabbit hole yet, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, once you play a AAA title in VR, you might have the dot problem. you might get the dot problem. Have you played Half-Life Alyx, Bo?
I have not, man.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
And that's like I just got it back in January, or like late January, and so there's a lot I haven't played. I mean, I'm like you. I've got the family to take care of, and I have a job, a full-time job, and then it got all these other things that I'm testing out too, and trying to figure out, and on the retro tech side of things, and that takes time and some trial and error in some cases, a lot of that. So I haven't played it. I haven't got to a lot of games.
You'll be surprised. Yeah, you'll be surprised once you see a VR game and the type of graphics that you're used to seeing on, like a Xbox or a PlayStation. Then you can't help but want more after that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Free games that Epic gives away is my backlog. Not getting time for them all. Yeah. And same for PlayStation. Nice. I think you're talking about the remote play there. Is that true, Jay Dunn?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
I don't know. I think he's referring to the remote play on PlayStation.
Same for PlayStation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The tech is impressive now. I remember I had a Dreamcast, and a lot of people don't remember this, but Dreamcast was ahead of its time. It actually had it had a 56K modem. You could connect to like AOL online on with the Dreamcast. It was like the only console that actually connected to online over dial-up. It was really hilarious. But like the stuff we're able to
that
do
is
now
hilarious.
It's crazy.
So if you're a Dreamcast guy, this might interest you. And it was I don't know if it was announced or leaked today, but this Crazy Taxi game that Sega is working on apparently is going to be an open world Crazy Taxi game with MMO elements to it.
Oh wow, that's
sounds
crazy.
Insane. But the footage we've seen of it so far, I think it looks really good. So I'm kind of excited about the return of Crazy Taxi.
Nice. Didn't they was this part of summer was this part of Games Fest? Didn't they release is there a Marvel versus Capcom on Switch. Or was that
Yeah,
Switch
it's
today?
it's a Marvel versus Capcom collection, and it's getting a physical release, which I think is probably going to be hard to find, because
Yeah,
it's
I'm
got
sure.
I can't remember how many games on it, but MVC2 is one of
It's
them.
one of them. Oh man,
Yeah.
I remember, and man, this takes me back. Like I remember when MVC2 was out on Dreamcast, and I
Hmm.
wanted it, and I found it. There's this place called Funco Land way back then. It's a gaming shop, and I drove like an hour and 40 minutes to go get that disc.
Wow.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
wow. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Good
Yeah.
times.
Uh,
Physical
man.
media.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna miss those days. I already kind of do.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I used to go to some of the like midnight releases for stuff, and people would be like lined up outside and grilling out and be
Mm-hmm.
dressed up in cosplay. You know, just like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Early
excited.
on, when I me and my wife were just married, I was still going to midnight releases and stuff. And she thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever. And it kind of was, but it really wasn't about the game as much as it was about the vibes. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
being there with people who are equally excited about the launch. It just,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it
Same
was
for
cool.
midnight movie releases, man. They don't
Hmm.
really do those anymore.
Yeah.
They open them at 4 in the afternoon, and
Before you get off work.
it's not the
Yeah,
same. Like when you
yeah,
release it at midnight, the only people there at midnight are the people that really want to see that movie.
right.
You know?
Yeah, the real squad. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It makes it
absolutely.
better. The
Yeah,
energy in the room is totally different.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, very good. So, if you had to pick a winner, based on what you know, what would you say? How would you vote
I'm
in this poll here?
I'm an Xbox guy.
Okay.
I most of my gaming has been on Xbox, to be honest. Like the vast majority of it. I started on PC obviously, but yeah, I'm an Xbox guy. And I'm most
Okay.
excited about E-Day. So they win in my book.
There you go. Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me. I couldn't pick between Xbox and Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm a Nintendo guy from
Okay.
like I've only ever had Nintendo consoles until
Okay.
the PS5 came out, and
Yeah.
I got a PS5. Still have my Switch.
Yeah.
Most likely going to get a Switch too, whenever that comes out.
Yeah.
So and I have an Xbox now as well, and I've never had an Xbox before either. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
a,
was a Nintendo guy because I didn't have a PlayStation. I had a N64, then a GameCube.
mhm.
No PlayStations in there. And then I went to Xbox and I played Splinter Cell and I was hooked. And
Mm.
I couldn't stop playing my Xbox.
The
So
original Splinter Cell.
yeah, yeah, the
So
first Xbox. Yeah.
yeah, I played that game too at a friend's house,
Hmm.
and I hated it. Because I was expecting like an action game, and it's
Yeah,
not, right? Like it's
it's a lot
totally
of
not.
waiting, a lot of waiting. Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out, and I just kept dying, dying, dying. And I was like, I got
Hmm.
frustrated, and
Yeah,
threw the controller down and quit. And
yeah.
that soured me on Splinter Cell
Hmm.
for 15 years before I went back and tried it again.
Yeah.
From
If
that
you
one
if you
experience.
if you stuck with it, like if it was your thing, because it just wasn't your thing. But I love stealth games for a long time, and like if you stuck with it, the way that stealth games like grew over time, like
Yeah.
by the time you're playing like Splinter Cell, like Blacklist or something
Yeah.
like more current, like you're just a ninja at that point because you're so used to like how it
Yeah.
works, and
Well,
it's exciting to play.
Blacklist is the game that brought me back,
Mm,
and
mhm.
that's the last entry we got in the franchise.
Yeah, yeah,
But it brought me back, and I loved that game. And it took me a
yeah,
little while to adjust, to get used to it and to kind of figure
yeah,
out the mechanics and stuff. But once I did, man, I
yeah,
was in love. It
yeah,
was super fun.
yeah,
So, slept in front of the doors to be first in at the local big event.
Oh, okay.
Ian event we have here. Okay, that's the event name from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
slept in front of the doors. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, people used to do that to here for stuff, and not so much anymore. Well, maybe for big gaming conventions like that, maybe still a little bit.
Yeah.
But
It was always great. We trade gamer tags, at the place, and then you go home, fire up the game, and you see those same people online.
yeah. Hey, last question.
Yeah.
Are you using the Insta360 camera right now?
No, I'm actually using the Pocket 3.
Okay. I
Yeah.
just see it moving, and
Yeah, I saw that on. I actually didn't want that on, but then like we started, so I didn't want to start tapping the screen to turn it off. So so it's been kind of floating with me here.
no, I like it. I
Yeah.
have a Insta360, and it does it too. It tracks your face and moves around,
Mhm.
but I don't use it. It's over here, and I use
Yeah,
this
yeah,
other
yeah.
camera
I
for my
understand.
YouTube stuff, so I'm just keeping it the same.
Yeah.
Oh, LAN. Oh, that's not an I. That's a L. Sorry.
Oh, that's proof that it's getting late. We can't tell our L's from our I's
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Well, so hey, man, tell us what you're working on and where we can find you if you're on social media and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, right now, just at the Construct VR on YouTube. I have just started my socials. That's how crazy YouTube has been. Everything's been consolidated down to YouTube. I haven't branched out to my socials, but yeah, look me up, the Construct underscore VR. I believe there's an underscore in there now. But yeah. We're gonna keep it going, man. We're only 19 videos in, so yeah, come stop by and vibe out VR, MR, XR, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Yeah. It is. There it is. Right. Can I zoom in here?
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
it's at the Construct underscore
The
VR.
Construct underscore VR. Yeah, man. Well, congratulations on all of your growth. That is super awesome. And glad that you found, like, you saw that there was a need and you filled it. That's really cool. And we'll be looking forward to more videos. I haven't been on the other social platforms either. Was like, no, I don't have time for all that. I'm just going to do YouTube. And
Yeah.
I know everybody, you're supposed to do Discord and you're supposed to do all this other stuff.
Yeah,
I
opened the Discord and hey, thanks for those who have joined it. I really appreciate you guys, but I'm never in there, and I feel bad sometimes. But yeah, I'm just trying to make quality videos. That's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. That's like I only have so much time. This is what I'm going to spend it on, making videos. I did just recently get into Twitter though, so I'm on there now. But other than that, no other socials. Yeah, the Osmo Pocket 3 is legit.
It is.
Seen several videos about that, and subbed. Awesome.
Thanks, Tech Update. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So you get any previews for us? Anything you're working on that you can tell us about other than your desk?
Yeah, I'm working on that video. I have to make sure I get that done. But I am going back to what we were talking about before. I am going to start covering games. I hope to cover them in kind of my own way. So stick around for that. Stay tuned for that. I'd like to take kind of more of a deep dive into some things. I think the VR space needs it, instead of just the quick fire kind of thing. Because there's some great stuff out there that probably needs a little bit more of attention.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like Max Mustard.
Yeah, like Max Mustard. Yeah.
Great show, fam. Let's connect soon and play some games and maybe hang in Horizon Worlds. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, people shouldn't hate on Horizon Worlds. Like, if you're in there with some friends, it's actually kind of cool. People act like it's like not cool to be in there, but I totally disagree. So
yeah, there's some fun stuff in there to do. Yeah. Especially if you're with people, I'm sure. Yeah. And I've been using mine. I've been using the Horizon workspace. What is it called?
Workrooms.
Workrooms. They just downgraded all that stuff.
Downgraded it. Yeah, they nuked it. They nerfed it, as they say.
But I've been using it some late at night, sitting here actually, because I can sit by the lake and it feels a little more like daytime.
Yeah, there you go.
I can edit videos.
Yeah.
I just connect to my Mac Mini here, and it works flawlessly.
Works nice.
but I wish they hadn't got rid of all those features.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, this has been episode 18 of Bono's Gamers. Big thanks to the Construct for joining us tonight. Go check him out. Stay kind and encouraging out there. And as always, I'll catch you on the flippity flip.